Hello and a very warm welcome to ET Studios. We're coming to you live from ET CIO Annual here in Goa. I'm your host Divina Lasson. Now here on ET Studios, we are creating engaging and insightful interview series that dives deep into the world of technology trends, strategies and innovations through exclusive conversations with India's top tech leaders. On this episode, we're here to talk about operationalizing cyber threat intelligence and making intel work for the CISO. This session is powered by Mandiant. Now, the geopolitical, physical and cyber threats are converging. Recent events in international politics have shown this to be very true. And these threats are spreading worldwide. And so CIOs and CISOs need to operationalize threat intelligence to be able to leverage contextual, relevant insights into their adversaries' motives, intents, capabilities and operations to make effective and timely decisions. All right, without any further ado, it's with much pleasure I would like to introduce our guest today. We have Sue Gimgo, APAC Security Architect, Mandiant. Sue, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sumit Malhotra, CIO, Times Internet. Welcome, Sumit.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And Ashu Kakkar, CIO, ITC Infotech.
Hi,
welcome,
thank
Ashu. Gentlemen, thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to have you here today at CIO Annual here in Goa. And yeah, we're here to talk about a really important and relevant topic. At the onset, Sumit and Ashu, I'd like to ask you how you are approaching threat intelligence at a strategic but also operational, tactical and technical level in your organizations, just to set the foundation of the conversation. Sumit, maybe we can start with you.
Thank you once again. See, threat intelligence begins with first identifying what is that you want to achieve strategically. You want to enhance your existing incident management program. You want to do like proactive threat hunting because you feel that you might be breached, or you want to enrich your SIM data, or you want to prioritize your vulnerability assessment program to see what vulnerabilities you should patch first, which should address your the highest risk tier. Once you understand and have clear understanding of your strategic goals, you go from there and then try to see what technology platform you would like to leverage to achieve those goals. It could be access to external feeds, internal feeds, feeds coming from your peer group, from industry, or even from your WhatsApp groups, right? So collecting all that data, harnessing that data, and then figuring out what techniques are being used to like attack you.
Yes.
So what TTPs are being used. Once you have all that data and you try to come up with some actionable intelligence and then apply it on the organization. So it's like a comprehensive plan which starts with identifying your goals, figuring out right platform, implementing in your processes, and then automating that overall process, because in the end you're getting plethora of attacks from everywhere. So, so when there are so many attacks, the intelligence is coming from everywhere as well. So you need to find what is relevant to you and then apply it.
Absolutely. Ashu, let's get you in on this. So how do you find what's relevant to you?
Okay. See, these are very, very important pillars for us, strategic and operational and tactical. From the cyber threat intelligence standpoint. So we have mapped all three layers with the three distinct stakeholders in the organization right now. And to start with strategic, we have all the CXOs and the C-suites to be mapped under that. So we take the decision on the risk-based approach. Yes. That's very important. If you go for any budget ask and say that we have the risk and everybody is investing, that's the way we don't approach. We approach with the risk-based model, whereby all these C-suites people will be partnered to that approach, and hence they will be providing the people, the resource, the cybersecurity technologies, and of course the budget. So all the budgets are being aligned to the risk-based approach, and this is how we handle on the strategic piece. Coming back to the operational piece, we our threat intel platforms, we subscribe to the multiple threat partners and ensuring that we are getting the IOCs which is applicable to our environment, our platforms and all, and hence we get the true positive IOCs, and well we can get into the zero day attacks framework. That's the way operational piece we organize. Coming back to tactical team, which is a very frontline team for us, that is a SOC team we have 24/7. We have the platform team who manages the firewall, IPS, IDS, security gateways, EDR, all these platforms they manage, and ensuring that all the IOCs are being applied on time. And we have the SOAR platform and SIM platform as well, ensuring that we have an automation layer also in line with to get this all these IOCs to be applied on time. That's the way we handle all the three layers very distinctly.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you for laying that foundation, Sugim. We've just heard how, from the industry perspective, companies are approaching threat intelligence. Can you tell us a little bit more about the detailed mechanism for both the production and operationalization of threat intelligence?
All right. So, of course, totally agree with what Ashu and Sumit has mentioned about how strategically you can use it, at the executive level, all the way down to the operational and tactical. So, in Mandiant, most of our intelligence, one of the key way that we produce it is that's actually a life cycle, right? It all starts with collection of intelligence. Yes. So, our collection is one of the key parts where we collect in multiple languages, against from all the threat vectors, all the threat actors. So once this is all collected from all our sources, the next stage is basically analyzing them, right? So we will park it whether, are we tracking this threat actor from a certain country, what is their motivation, and what classes do they belong to. So that's part of what we call the analyzing part. And last but not least, what we do is we publish this in a curated manner. Because intelligence at the end of the day is all about confidence level, right? When we share threat intelligence, it's about how confident you trust the intelligence that will help you to take an action on it, right? If you don't trust it, you can't take action. So one of the key things is we publish it in a curated manner so that we are very sure this is correct, right? This is the next action you need to take, right? These are the techniques that they're doing. We call them modus operandi or TTPs, techniques, tactics and procedures, right? So these are all different ways that we share for the community as well. To basically understand how to use the intelligence in the environment. So operationalizing it is easier. Again, intelligence is great unless you can operationalize it, right? Basically, like what Ashu has mentioned, how you put it into your security operations on a daily basis. How do you ensure that this is actually safeguarded as you go down the defense level, infrastructure, EDR, firewall, and so on.
That's a really important point to bring up about also having a context and really knowing how to apply the data and the intelligence that's coming in. So Sumit, how would you say you would go about defining threat intelligence in the first place in the organization? And more than that, how can you work on developing a holistic threat intelligence capability across parameters, across situations?
So I think it's again begins with identifying what your goals are. When you understand what you want to do, you want to enhance your existing IR plan or like give additional arsenal or tools to your SOC to conclude an incident quickly, or do a proactive threat hunting, or integrate with your firewall and other systems to proactively block IOC. There are many things which you can do, but first you have to identify what is that you want to do. Everybody wants to do everything, but I think it's important for us to focus on what we should begin with.
Yes.
Once you understand, then you need a platform who can help you with this, because intelligence is coming from everywhere. So you have to figure out what is it that applies to you. So you have to look at geo-political nature of the intelligence which is coming in. Generally, intelligence is more relevant in the same industry. So you would like to have a platform which provides intelligence which is geo-local and industry-specific with a lot of context. But even if you get intelligence, you have to figure out a way to integrate with your tools, processes, and system. You have to integrate with your SOC, you have to integrate with your IR system, you probably need you to integrate with your security teams, and then you have to build all your processes and tools, systems around it, so that you actually can harness the value out of whatever work you have done. But I think, again, the volume of the IOCs which come in like every day is like so large that you cannot do it manually.
Yeah.
You have to figure out a way to automate it, integrate it with, let's say, EDR, you mentioned SOC, like all the toolings which you have, so that you actually can harness the value and then probably we get better at it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ashu, along these lines, in order to truly harness the value, as Sumit is pointing out, what would you say are your sort of top 3 strategies for integration and really having an effective plan moving forward?
Yeah, see, we are pretty not unique, and we are standard across the industry. So we always do it top-down approach. First to protect the brand protection, intelligence, going back to the perimeter securities and all. And post-pandemic, everybody is working hybrid environment. We ensure that they are working from any network, any device, and any IP. Their data is containerized. All the security is going along with their devices and all. That's what pretty our focus areas are there. The key focus for the upcoming years, we wanted to do ML and AI also to be implemented on the threat database, where we can our SOC team can do the immediately the call on the IOCs immediately, rather than going into the millions of threat intel data. We can go and work on the quick actionable item, and some of the low hangings can be automate as well. That's the way the key focus is there to overall control on these areas.
Okay. So Sugim, again, we're hearing some of the strategies and approaches of organizations when it comes to threat intelligence. What would you say it takes for enterprise to really operationalize their own threat intelligence function? Could be from collection, but all the way up to production. What would be your recommendation?
Right, so some of my experience with working in the industry, in threat intelligence is most of the time, threat intel is more than just indicators. I think we brought up some words on IOCs. We put indicators of compromise. Most of the time, it's just not about whether this is malicious or benign, right? That is just a clean and not clean kind of factor. Threat intelligence extends actually more than IOCs, because what we are really focused on is the contextual information, right? So, for example, if you're SOC, you're firing a lot of alerts, right, and then you're cross-correlating with a lot of indicators, what you get is actually more noise than actually trying to help curate the fact. So in threat intelligence by Mandiant, what we help the customer to do is to actually improve the contextual information, because at the end of the day, as we talk about tactical, operational, and strategic, right, up in the executive level, they don't really care how many you blocked, but they care who is coming after you, right? So in threat intelligence, we want to understand who the perpetrators are, who the threat actors are, what is their motivation, right? You want to know what is their objective. Are they coming for my money? Are they coming for data theft? Or are they just for espionage, right? So these are all different motivations by the bad guys. And from threat intelligence, that's where we actually can start pointing out the contextual information, right? So today, rather than we're talking about, hey, we just got hit by, 1,000 alerts that is by, a Lockbit ransomware. But it would be much more useful if we say, hey, on the risk basis, we're hit by this threat actor from a certain country, or this threat group who are coming after my money. So that changes the whole perspective, even in the strategic level, right? Where, okay, my risk is there, this group are coming after me, I'm fighting a bigger enemy, so I need to be more protected, right? And I need to understand what these guys do to come in. So to proactively fight them and defend yourself, that's where you understand the adversary, right? Like they say, you can't fight all the wars, but you need to know who the threat actors are coming after you. So that's basically how threat intelligence help the whole industry.
Yeah, just to add on that, we also work on a similar way, how to reduce the attack surface. That's a very, very important. Yes. Just to give you a very example on that, today let's say I'm working from India, so we have defined a contextual based access as well. We are working from India, you can log in only from India. Yeah. Even if your IDs or identity been compromised, from other locations no one can access. This is how we reduce the attack surface as well on the identity, because this is a more essential way to attack the identities and all. That's the way, reducing the attack based surface, having a contextual on a data point view as well, where we can go MFA, where we can go single sign on and all. That's the way whole lot of role based access to be is very important in the system right now.
Okay, that's a very relevant example. And so on that note, Sugi, maybe you can also give us some more of the M Trends 23 that you're seeing, that you would put out there for CIOs and CISOs to use to really implement on a frontline basis when it comes to their security strategies.
Right. So just to talk a little bit more about the M Trend, so it's an annual report that Mandiant publishes, right? This is based on everything that we learn from the front lines. So Mandiant, we do a lot of incident response, right? So this is where we learn all the stories, like I have shared, the tales from the trenches, right? Because we are there at the crime scene, so we have seen everything that has unfolded by the bad guys. How they come in, what did they take, how long did they stay, right? So like one of the key things that we have mentioned in the M Trend report is something that we mentioned called dwell time, right? Dwell time is the time that the perpetrator or the threat actor has come in to the time that he got detected, right? So that's the dwell time, how long the guy stayed in there. So in our report, one of the key highlight I have shared is, in the past decade, Mandiant has been tracking this for the last 10 years. We have actually seen the number of days that's been reduced, right now to like 18 days compared to more than 2 years in the past. So 10 years ago, and the threat actor could be lurking around your network for the past 2 years, and they have remained undetected, right? They've been walking around and literally, we call them, lateral movements or north-south traffic where they've been lurking around. So now, a lot of companies, they have actually implemented a lot of security strategies. So that actually has reduced a lot on the detection time. So one of the key highlights I mentioned, the dwell time has actually gone down tremendously.
Thank you for sharing those insights. Sumit, what would you say are some of the parameters that you would apply when it comes to selecting your threat intelligence partner?
I think the list is very long. But I think it begins first with what is the quality of intelligence that partner brings in? Is it reliable? Does it have the context which I just talked about? Or is it just a list of IOCs which he's providing, which you can supply? Whether it's reliable, whether it's timely or not, then there are additional things which you would like to see, what is the quality of support they offer, whether they help you collaborate with other industry peers or not, whether they can integrate seamlessly with various assets you have, whether it will integrate with SIM you're using, whether it's integrated with your EDR system, and then in all, long list, but I think there are many quality partners which are available, and this is an interesting field to be in.
Yeah, fantastic. Ashu, same question.
So
Top factors you look for.
For us, the time is very important. Attacks are happening every second. So how do we get that the IOCs on time to control on zero-day attacks and all? Then you are getting a true positive, IOCs from the threat intel partners. And third, our ability to counterize it. That's very important. So 3 things we focus on the new attacks which is coming in.
Okay. And also I'm curious, is there a challenge within the organization when it comes to you communicating the value of threat intelligence and really ensuring the best investment, the best strategy? Are there any sort of internal challenges when it comes to understanding the severity and the importance of threat intelligence?
No, I don't think it is a big challenge. As I said in the beginning of my discussion, if you go with the risk-based approach, and that's a way, getting the budgets out is not a key challenge over there. And we are also getting monitored from various sensors, various sources as well, to give us a scorecard. It's a mirror view, how we are doing controls and IOCs being applied in our team. We also follow a zero trust model within our team as well. So we have the red teaming and blue teaming, which we do it from the outside agencies as well, to ensure that no threat vectors or MCAs are sitting in our network, to ensure that we are managing a top 100 customers data as well. So we have to be very relevant, very updated on that, and hence there is no scope of compromise up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Sumit, I presume a similar approach?
Yeah, I think, see, the problem is that we talk about patch management a lot, but I think it's very difficult for one to deploy patches timely on, let's say, if you have 10,000 or 50,000 servers. So if let's say Microsoft releases a problem on Windows Server tonight, it's unrealistic to have that patch deployed on 20,000 systems overnight. So you're actually exposed to that risk. So I think the biggest place where threat intelligence can be used and should be used is to figure out what is the thing we should try to close first. What is the lowest hanging fruit for you to reduce your risk? So I think threat intelligence, once it's integrated with VA or SIM or various tools, helps you enhance it and create help you identify a clear focus area for you on how you can mitigate your risk by reducing your risk score or whatever else methodology you're using in your organization.
Thank you.
Just to follow on to what Sumi has mentioned, so definitely vulnerability is a key part, right? Like I think one of the key things that threat intelligence help us do is actually prioritizing. Because again, you may have 1,000 CVEs that you need to patch, right? Again, what is more important? Which is most likely that an attacker will exploit that vulnerability. So all that is also what part of threat intelligence can do, because in threat intelligence, you're actually tracking not only the vulnerability, you're actually tracking which adversary is actually exploiting that or weaponizing that specific CVE, right? So this definitely, because if you know who you're fighting, right? If you know who your enemy is, then it raises the priority what you need to patch first. So definitely threat intelligence can provide a lot of context, beyond just, this is a CVE score, I need to, this is what the public says. You need to be able to know who the adversaries are, who is exploiting it, are there any exploits out there, is it a 0-day? So this is definitely where it can help out a lot.
True, very relevant.
Yeah, sure. So it sounds basically like a very proactive approach. And so we've been talking about this throughout our conversation, but slowly as we come to an end, Sugim, can you kind of summarize how Mandiant really works with organizations to have exactly this very proactive approach when it comes to threat intelligence and providing the best possible security solutions?
Right, so for Mandiant, how we help out a lot of organizations is basically we provide a lot of this curated threat intelligence, right? First of all, as I mentioned, we provide the context, right? We tell them the exact profile of the threat actor, right? So in order to go to a war, you need to know who you're fighting, and you need to know their strategy, right? That's how wars are being fought. So to defend yourself is the same technique. That's what we share with the customer, and at the same time, they can use this across the entire organization, right? They may have the security operation team. I think, you did mention about, Ashwin did mention about the red teaming as well, right? So these are where customers of ours, they will operationalize it. They will use what the bad guys would do, emulate them, and validate your existing infrastructure, right? Because again, the hard part is validating it. Because many times we will hear, there's an attack there, it's an attack here. How are you validating, right? You can't say for sure, I'm safe today, right? So this is where the threat intelligence can help you to proactively implement all the techniques that the bad guys would do, test it against your existing infrastructure. It could be a red team, it could be security validation, right? To make sure that, okay, I have an answer today and say, whatever they do, I'm protected. So these are all part of the services that, Mandiant has been providing as well.
Right, fantastic. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. Before we wrap up, there's been a lot of insight and a lot of really deep conversation we've had here. Can you give us, each one of you, a top takeaway for all the tech leaders who are watching us today when it comes to operationalizing cyber threat intelligence? Your top takeaway for CIOs and CISOs out there?
Yeah, it's a catch-up game. It's not that we have done yesterday. We need to wake up every day, every minute on that. And wherever it is important to give us a priority, I think we should not compromise in any of the investments, and prioritization is very, very important.
Prioritization.
I would say find a partner you can trust,
Yes.
and figure out a way you can harness the value which they're bringing in by integrating with the threat data which you have collected in your data like for last many years, or you continue to put terabytes in, and then get going.
Yeah. Fantastic. Sugim.
All right, so first of all, my takeaway line is basically intelligence. There are many forms. Make sure they are highly curated, right? And again, to go to the war, you need to know who you're fighting. Yeah. For the executive out there, the risk, knowing the risk is very important. Yeah. Know how are you compared, against your peers, your industry, where you are in the region. And then, of course, today, I think executives have taken a big step. Even board of directors, they have recognized that information security is a key component of part of the whole organization, right? On top of the financials and everything, definitely something to take away.
Right, gentlemen, thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure having you here today. Thank you for being on ET Studios and sharing all your insights with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, that's all we have for you on this episode of ET Studios, but do stay tuned for many more such exciting conversations where we give you the exclusive opportunity to gain valuable insights from the most influential security leaders who are driving technological advancements in their industries. Until next